When 69-year-old Martha collapsed in the grocery store, her family was stunned. She had always been the picture of good health, brisk morning walks, plenty of water, and a kitchen full of what she called the right stuff. Low-fat yogurt, whole wheat bread, granola bars, fruit juice. All the things she believed were keeping her strong. But in the ER, the truth hit hard. Her blood sugar was dangerously unstable. Inflammation markers were sky high, and her doctor quietly asked a question that changed everything. Can we talk about your diet? What Martha learned in the weeks that followed left her in disbelief. It turned out that many of the so-called healthy foods she had trusted for years were now working against her. Her age had changed what her body could handle. Quietly, gradually, these foods had been fueling joint pain, weight gain, and even mental fog. She is not alone. After 65, your body changes in ways most people never talk about, and unless you know which foods to avoid, you could be making the same hidden mistakes. If you are over 65 or love someone who is, stay with me until the end. I am going to reveal the 5 healthy foods I have personally stopped eating and what I have replaced them with instead. The last one shocked even my doctor. You might be surprised too, but your body will thank you. Evelyn always believed she was making smart choices. At 72, she began each day with what she proudly called her healthy breakfast ritual: a cup of fruit yogurt, a handful of almonds, and a light walk around the neighborhood. Her doctor had praised her years earlier for keeping her weight steady and blood pressure normal, so she stuck with what worked. But over time, things started to shift. Subtly, at first. She noticed that her knees ached more than usual by mid-morning. Her walks became shorter, and around 10:30 every day, a wave of exhaustion would hit so powerful she sometimes needed to lie down. Evelyn assumed it was just age catching up with her. Then came the lab work. Her fasting blood sugar had climbed, and inflammation markers were elevated. Her doctor gently asked about her diet. When Evelyn mentioned her go-to breakfast, especially the fruit yogurt, the doctor leaned in and said something that startled her. "Evelyn, that yogurt might be doing more harm than good." She was shocked. Yogurt? The label said low-fat, fruit on the bottom, and made with real strawberries. It sounded wholesome. But a closer look revealed the truth. That tiny container held 22 grams of sugar, more than 5 teaspoons, and only a few grams of protein. Worse, the sugar came from a mix of fruit puree and added sweeteners. For someone over 65, that is a dangerous combination. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at processing sugar. The pancreas does not respond as quickly. Blood sugar spikes higher and stays there longer. This creates a cycle of inflammation that affects the joints, the brain, and even the heart. And while fruit yogurt seems innocent, it can be one of the worst culprits, disguising itself as health food while delivering the same metabolic chaos as a soft drink. The sugar rush from fruit yogurt causes a sharp rise in insulin, followed by a crash in energy. Over time, this roller coaster effect wears down the body. Seniors often describe it as brain fog, burning joints, or just not feeling like myself anymore. That is what Evelyn was experiencing. She felt betrayed by the packaging, by the health claims, even by her own habits. But once she knew the truth, she decided to make a change. Instead of fruit yogurt, she began eating plain Greek yogurt with a few fresh blueberries and a sprinkle of cinnamon. The difference was almost immediate. Her energy stabilized. Her joint pain eased. And within 2 months, her lab work improved. It was a small change, but it led to a big transformation. Here is the key takeaway. Sweet does not always mean safe. After 65, foods high in sugar, even so-called natural sugar scan, quietly erode your health. And the worst part is, most seniors do not even realize it is happening. If you enjoy yogurt, you do not have to give it up, but you do need to choose wisely. Look for unsweetened or plain Greek yogurt. Add your own fresh fruit if you want. Sweetness berries are best because they are low in sugar and high in antioxidants. You can also mix in a few chopped walnuts or flax seeds for healthy fat and fiber. These simple additions not only taste better, but they support better digestion, balanced blood sugar, and long-term joint health. You are not too old to feel strong again. But it starts with one quiet choice: removing the sugar your body no longer needs. Joe had always considered himself a sensible eater. At 76, he made turkey sandwiches on whole wheat bread almost every afternoon. No chips, no soda, just a simple sandwich with lettuce and tomato and maybe a cup of soup on the side. He thought it was a safe, balanced meal, especially for someone his age. But at his annual checkup, something did not add up. His A1C measure of blood sugar over time had crept up into the pre-diabetic range. His doctor mentioned it casually at first, but Joe was surprised. He had not changed his diet, was not eating sweets, and he never touched dessert. So where was the sugar coming from? The answer was sitting right in his lunchbox. Whole wheat bread. Like many seniors, Joe believed the label whole wheat meant the bread was healthier, lower in sugar, higher in fiber, and better for his heart. But when his doctor asked him to start checking his blood sugar after meals, Joe saw the truth in real time. Every day, 1 hour after lunch, his numbers would spike. It felt like a betrayal. So he started reading the label more closely. The bread that promised heart-healthy grains had nearly 20 grams of carbohydrates per slice and added sweeteners like honey, molasses, or brown sugar. Worse, it had very little actual fiber. It was acting more like a candy bar than a fiber-rich food. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to these types of hidden carbs. Whole wheat bread, even the soft, natural kind, can cause rapid blood sugar spikes. This stresses the pancreas, promotes fat storage around the belly, and accelerates inflammation in the gut. Over time, this can lead to not just diabetes, but cognitive decline and heart disease. And the worst part? It happens silently. Joe never felt the spike. No crash, no symptoms. But his body felt it. His cells were aging faster, his joints ached more than before, and he found it harder to keep his weight stable. So he made a switch. Instead of standard whole wheat bread, Joe began using sprouted grain bread like Ezekiel bread or low-carb wraps made with almond flour or flaxseed. These options were higher in fiber, lower in sugar, and did not send his blood sugar on a roller coaster. He also started building sandwiches in lettuce wraps or simply eating his proteins with vegetables on the side. The results were eye-opening. His next A1C dropped. He lost a few stubborn pounds around his waist. And best of all, he felt sharper mentally and physically. This is the key truth. Even healthy carbs can age your cells. After 65, what used to work for your digestion and metabolism might now be making you feel slower, stiffer, and more fatigued. So if you are holding on to whole wheat bread because it sounds healthy, it might be time to ask your body how it feels about it. Try this. Skip your usual sandwich bread for a week. Choose high-fiber, low-carb alternatives or just go breadless and pile your sandwich ingredients onto a bed of greens. See how your energy responds. Pay attention to your digestion. Your body is talking. And after 65, listening is one of the smartest things you can do. Because sometimes the food that looks healthy on the surface is quietly wearing you down from the inside. And all it takes is one change to turn the tide. Margaret prided herself on staying trim. At 68, she was determined to keep her figure and avoid the weight gain she saw in so many of her friends. Her secret weapon? Diet soda. She sipped one with lunch, another in the afternoon, and sometimes even one with dinner. It helped her avoid sugary drinks, and the zero-calorie label gave her peace of mind. But something strange was happening. Despite her careful eating, Margaret noticed her stomach was getting softer. Her pants no longer fit the way they used to. She felt bloated more often, and her energy dipped by mid-afternoon. Even her memory seemed slower, names on the tip of her tongue, grocery lists forgotten. She blamed aging, hormones maybe, but deep down, something felt off. Her turning point came during a nutrition workshop at her local senior center. A speaker mentioned that diet soda could actually increase belly fat, insulin resistance, and even affect brain health. Margaret was stunned. Was it possible that the very thing she was drinking to stay slim was working against her? The answer, she learned, was yes. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin may not contain calories, but they still send strong messages to the body, messages that can confuse your metabolism, disrupt your gut bacteria, and even increase sugar cravings. Your brain tastes sweetness, but gets no calories, which can lead to hunger signals being triggered more intensely later. Over time, diet soda creates a pattern. You drink it to feel satisfied, but you end up hungrier. You eat more, you crave more sugar, and your belly stores more fat, especially around the midsection. And that was exactly what Margaret was experiencing. She felt betrayed. She had chosen diet soda thinking it was the smarter path, healthier alternative. But as she dug deeper, she discovered that studies had linked regular diet soda intake to higher risks of stroke, dementia, type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome, especially in older adults. It was not just about weight anymore. It was about her long-term health. So Margaret decided to do something bold. She quit cold turkey. The first few days were difficult. She missed the fizz, the sweetness, and the comfort of routine. But she replaced it with something better. Flavored sparkling water with a splash of lemon or cucumber, herbal iced tea with a hint of mint, and plenty of regular water throughout the day. Within weeks, she noticed a difference. Her belly began to shrink. Her cravings decreased. And surprisingly, her mind felt clearer. She remembered names again. Her focus improved. And most of all, she felt proud because she had taken back control. Here is the truth. What feels light may actually weigh you down. Just because something has 0 calories does not mean it has 0 impact. After 65, your body becomes more sensitive to artificial chemicals, especially the ones designed to fool your taste buds. If you drink diet soda to feel in control of your weight, consider this. It may be controlling you instead. Try switching to naturally flavored water or unsweetened herbal teas. They hydrate your body, support digestion, and give your taste buds something new without confusing your metabolism. And if you miss the fizz, there are sparkling waters with 0 artificial ingredients that offer the same refreshing sensation. The point is not perfection, it is awareness. Your body is wiser than any label. And when you stop feeding it chemicals in disguise, it rewards you with clarity, balance, and a health you can feel in every cell. Every morning, Harold had the same ritual. At 70, he would sit by the window with his favorite book, a hot cup of coffee, and a bowl of granola with milk. He called it his Smart Start, a crunchy, fiber-rich breakfast that kept him full and he believed healthy. He had chosen granola over sugary cereal years ago. The label said, whole grain, all natural, and even heart healthy. What could be better? But at his annual physical, Harold got a surprise. His LDL cholesterol, bad kind, had crept up. His triglycerides were elevated, and his blood sugar was borderline pre-diabetic. His doctor raised an eyebrow when Harold mentioned his daily granola. "How much are you eating?" she asked. "Just a bowl," he said. "With milk, maybe some raisins." Then she pulled out her phone and looked up the brand. One serving, just half a cup, contained over 18 grams of sugar, almost none of it from fiber. The portion Harold poured each morning, closer to a cup and a half. And with the milk and raisins, he was consuming nearly 40 grams of sugar before 9 a.m. It hit him like a brick. He thought he was eating breakfast, but his body was processing it like dessert. That is the truth about most commercial granola. Despite the rustic packaging and healthy-sounding names, many brands are packed with added sugars, vegetable oils, and refined carbohydrates. Some even have more sugar per serving than ice cream. And for seniors, this is especially concerning. After 65, your insulin sensitivity naturally decreases. Your body does not handle carbohydrates the way it used to. A blood sugar spike in your 30s might mean a quick burst of energy. At 70, it means inflammation, fatigue, and strain on your pancreas, liver, and arteries. Worse, many seniors eat granola thinking it is good for their heart, only to find it raises their cholesterol instead. That is because processed granolas often use inflammatory oils like soybean or sunflower oil that disrupt hormone balance and promote fat storage around the belly. That is what happened to Harold. He felt betrayed by the labels, the marketing, and even his own good intentions. But instead of giving up, he got curious. With a little help from his daughter, Harold started making his own granola. He used plain rolled oats, unsweetened coconut flakes, raw pumpkin seeds, chopped almonds, cinnamon, and a drizzle of olive oil. He baked it slowly in the oven and stored it in jars. No sugar, no chemicals, just real ingredients. He began eating smaller portions with plain Greek yogurt or a splash of unsweetened almond milk. Sometimes he added a few fresh blueberries for natural sweetness. And after 3 months, his numbers changed. His cholesterol improved. His blood sugar stabilized. And he no longer felt the energy crash mid-morning that used to leave him yawning at the kitchen table. Here is the key takeaway. Just because it crunches does not mean it is clean. Crunchy, packaged, and sweet does not equal health, especially after 65. If you love granola, you do not need to give it up, but you do need to take control of what goes in it. Look for or make a blend with no added sugar, no processed oils, and real, whole ingredients. Measure your portion. Half a cup is plenty. And always balance it with protein and healthy fat to reduce blood sugar spikes. What you eat in the morning sets the tone for your entire day. And when your breakfast works with your body, not against it, you feel it in every step, every thought, and every beat of your heart. Linda was always the healthy one in her group of friends. At 74, she never smoked, walked every day, and started each morning with a tall glass of orange juice. It boosts immunity, she would say. Vitamin C keeps me strong. She had been drinking juice every morning for decades, believing it was part of the reason she stayed so active. But her latest doctor's visit gave her pause. Her A1C marker for blood sugar control was higher than expected. Pre-diabetic. She blinked at the numbers. "How is that possible?" she asked. "I do not eat sweets. I eat fruit. I drink juice." Her doctor smiled gently. "Let's talk about that juice." They went over the nutrition label. Her favorite bottle of 100% orange juice, no sugar added, had 26 grams of sugar in just one 8-ounce serving. No fiber, no protein. Just liquid sugar disguised as something natural and good. And Linda realized, all those mornings, she thought she was nourishing her body, but she was really flooding it with sugar. Here is what many people do not know. Fruit juice, even without added sugar, is one of the fastest ways to spike your blood sugar. It is digested quickly because it contains none of the fiber that whole fruit has. Without fiber to slow absorption, the natural sugars hit your bloodstream in a flash, just like soda. This is especially risky after 65. As we age, our insulin response becomes less efficient. Blood sugar spikes more easily, and those spikes do more damage. They inflame blood vessels, impair memory, increase joint stiffness, and push the body toward diabetes in people who think they eat well. Linda had no idea that drinking orange juice was giving her the same blood sugar response as drinking cola. But now it made sense why she often felt sleepy after breakfast, why her hands sometimes felt stiff, and why her waistline was slowly expanding despite no major changes to her diet. She made a decision. No more juice. At first, it felt strange. Her morning routine felt incomplete. She missed the brightness of the juice, the little burst of flavor. So she replaced it with something just as refreshing but kinder to her body. She began drinking water infused with lemon slices and fresh mint. Some mornings she added a few crushed raspberries or cucumber slices. The color made it feel special. The taste gave her a lift. But her blood sugar stayed balanced. She also started eating a small bowl of real fruit whole oranges or a handful of berries. This way, she got the same nutrients, the same satisfaction, but without the sugar overload. The fiber in whole fruit slowed everything down, supporting digestion and reducing inflammation. After a few months, Linda's A1C dropped back to a healthy range. Her energy returned, and she felt more in control, more informed, more empowered. The key takeaway: drinking fruit is not the same as eating it. Juice removes the most important part of the fruit, the fiber, and concentrates what remains. After 65, your body cannot afford those kinds of sugar hits. Not daily, not even occasionally. If juice is still part of your routine, take a moment to reconsider. Could you swap it for infused water? Could you eat a piece of whole fruit instead? Your body will thank you with better blood sugar, steadier energy, and fewer of the aches and fog that often get mistaken for aging. Sometimes the healthiest changes are not about doing more. They are about letting go of what no longer serves the body you live in today. Growing older does not mean giving up, it means getting wiser. The foods that once supported your body in your 30s or 40s might now be working quietly against you. but awareness is a gift. When you understand how your needs change after 65, you can make choices that truly serve your health, your energy, and your future. Removing just a few healthy imposters from your plate can ease inflammation, balance your blood sugar, and help you feel more like yourself again. You deserve clarity. You deserve vitality. And with the right choices, you can enjoy BOD at any age. If you found this helpful, please give it a like, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more gentle, life-changing tips for living well after 65. Tell us in the comments which of these foods surprised you the most. Your story could help another senior make a choice that changes everything. Thank you for being here with us today.